you're having trouble finding that perfect gift for a loved one, a Portland Spirit cruise is a great option because Portland Spirit gift cards never expire and are valid on any cruise they sell, which includes my personal favorites, Wine on Water, Seven Wonders of the Gorge, and their very popular happy hour and dinner cruises. I've personally gone on a few Portland Spirit cruises and highly recommend them to anyone who loves boats and being on the water. Head over to portlandspirit.com for all the details. That's portlandspirit.com. Portland Bureau of Transportation wants you to get home safe this New Year's Eve, so they're offering $10 off Uber and Lyft for trips that start in the city of Portland from 7 p.m. on December 31st through 4 a.m. on January 1st, all while supplies last. You can get your discount code on December 31st at portland.gov/SafeRide25, or you can just ask your bartender for a coupon on New Year's Eve. Help us all ring in the New Year safely. Please do not drive while intoxicated. For those of us who really depend on getting out in nature for our mental health, winter can be challenging, especially if you're not a winter sports type person or a fan of getting soggy. But what if there was another option? So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about one unexpected activity that might stir your spirit for the outdoors in the winter: snow camping. You might be asking yourself, why? Why would I do that? And is it really worth it? Joining us to answer these questions and many more is outdoor expert and Portland ambassador for Women Who Explore, Karrie Carnes. She has tips for how to pull off a safe winter camping trip this season that doesn't involve you getting frostbite. It's Thursday, December 18th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Karrie, why even bother camping in the wintertime? Is it really worth the hassle? Like, why can't you just wait?
Well, first of all, you get the bragging rights because chances are few of your friends are doing it. So it makes you more interesting at house parties and
immediately
dinner parties. Just right out of the gate. But seriously, it's an opportunity to avoid the crowds. I mean, people love nature. It's great during the summer, particularly if you're kind of camping closer in. You know, you've got to hop online 6 months in advance and reserve it. And then you're there with, half of Portland. But here, very few people actually go snow camping. So you have the added benefit of having a more solitary experience. And also, there's nothing quite like waking up and unzipping your tent to a winter wonderland of the morning sun kind of reflecting and glittering off the snow and ice. It's a pretty unique experience. And it's just very serene. I don't know like how much time you spend in the snow, but there's something I think about the acoustics of snow that absorbs sound. So it's just very peaceful. And then lastly, honestly, there's some activities that really require snow camping. So if someone is looking into potentially getting into mountaineering or kind of, beyond the average hiking, but, in the alpine area above tree level, then a lot of times snow camping at higher elevations is just part of what you do.
You just have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
to get
snow.
An early start to the summit.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, bragging rights and the serenity of a winter wonderland are two reasons to give it a go if you can do it safely.
Yeah, which we will highlight how to do this safely. But I love the honesty of bragging rights because I think a lot of people would just be like, oh, nature, which you did point to, but you're just like, let's be honest.
I'm real. I'm here for real talk.
Okay, great. So before we get into all the tips on gear and safety, what would make an ideal camping spot in the snow? Like, what do you think is like, all right, this is what you got to be looking for? Because I'm assuming you can't just go to any place and just go, I'm camping here in the snow.
Not quite. And it's not quite that easy. I would probably start with a place that you've already been before, maybe someplace you've been in the summer. I would definitely start with things that are called snow parks.
Oh. Okay.
And if you Google this, there's no W in snow. SNOPARK. I don't know why they don't put the snow in there, but these are parking areas that are maintained during the winter. They do require an extra permit. There's quite a few of them on Mount Hood, in the Mount Hood area, that allow overnight parking. So that's pretty clutch. I recommend parking relatively close by to where you're going to camp, because in case you decide halfway through the night that you're cold or you hate it and you want to bag it, you don't want to be trekking that far.
Right.
So having parking nearby, which is perfect for the snow parks.
So like basically the ease to bail at any point.
Yeah. You still, whether you're, 50 feet or 500 feet from your car, you still get the bragging rights of you went snow camping. People don't have to know how close you were to your car. But if you don't spend the whole night, you can't brag.
Okay.
So
okay.
let's just be clear. But obviously you do want flat ground. And that's just a good rule of thumb whenever you're camping, because you don't want to be camping on a slope. Other reasons, which if you're near a snow park, you don't have to worry about this. But yes, on like high elevation and high slope terrain in the backcountry, then you get an avalanche risk.
Right.
But here we're talking about, not too far off the highway, just going parking at a snow park with your snow park permit and then schlepping your gear in. When you get to an area, I would look for a place with flat ground, number one, and then not underneath a tree.
Yeah.
Now you might think like, oh, trees provide shelter from rain. Well, yes, but in the winter, the branches of those big trees are often very heavily weighed down or laden with ice or wet snow, and those branches break or that snow can get dumped on your tent and it's not safe. And so, flat area, avoid the trees. Another reason to avoid the trees is there's this area around the base of a tree called a tree well, and you can get stuck in it, and that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that happens a lot with snowboarders and skiers as they fall into these wells, which sounds awful, honestly. It does not sound like a fun time.
No, we want this to be fun.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything else that people should be looking for when they're picking out a camping spot?
So I mentioned not to camp underneath trees, but it can be nice to be near trees that they can provide a wind break, so you can be in the lee of the trees. And often if you're looking at a site and trying to assess like where does the wind generally come from, you can kind of look at the trees themselves, and often which side the snow is on gives you a good indication. And the wind really, really whips in the winter. I mean, it probably whips sometime during the summer, but I've been out camping and the sides of my tent snow camping are just like moving 6 inches in each direction and just, pounding, and it sounds like the end of the world. So
you kind of want to find hopefully something to block you from that wind.
Yeah, if you can. It's not always easy to do, which is why it's really important to also learn, and we can talk about this later, kind of how to set up your tent and how to make sure that you tie it down and anchor it well.
I watch a lot of YouTube, so I feel like I'm able to build a snow wall because I'm sure that's really easy, right?
Yeah, totally. You don't sweat at all.
No,
no.
Yeah, it's great. All right. So now that we've identified, okay, here's what you kind of want to look for. What are some spots in your Portland that you're just like, these are some great places to start snow camping in?
So the first place I went snow camping was one I was familiar with. I'd been during the day, and some people might kind of pause when they hear this, but it's White River West. That's a mouthful. White River West Snow Park on Mount Hood. And it's very popular with sledding and kids and dogs. And it's kind of the circus during the day, which is like super overwhelming. But at night, it's completely different and there's no one there. And there is, a maintained snow park. It does allow overnight parking, and we had it all to ourselves. And so one of the reasons I love it, it is very windy. There's almost like this gully that comes down off Mount Hood. But if you're lucky, if you're fortunate enough to have good conditions, it is just this epic view of Mount Hood. So you open your tent and it's just this postcard perfect view of the mountain, and it's utterly gorgeous. It's also a pretty popular area to go snowshoeing. So, it's really up to you if you want to pack your sled or your snow tube and you want to hang out with the masses and jet boil some hot cocoa the next day, or if you just want to go there, see the stars, wake up with the glistening view of Mount Hood, and then pack it in and go to Timberline for a beer or something.
Yeah.
So White River West. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that.
It's a little odd. White River West Snow Park. White River West. Actually, no, it's super easy. I don't know what you're talking about, Karrie.
Okay.
What's another one?
So also Frog Lake. That one's easier to say. I can say Frog Lake.
Frog Lake
Snow Park. One thing about that, I do believe that one also during the day on some of the trails, there are snowmobiles. So just kind of watch out for that.
Oof.
But that one, it's beautiful, beautiful scenery. It's another one that's really popular. I figure a lot of folks who maybe are into winter sports like snowshoeing have likely already been there. So maybe that's a good one if you've already been there. It's not super isolated. So both of these recommendations that I'm giving, you're likely to see other people. You won't necessarily see crowds. You may not even see any other snow campers. But I think it can be nice, particularly if you're a novice to this, to know that there are other people that will, be there in the morning, with their dogs or their kids or their snowshoes or their cross-country skis.
Right. So when I drive into these snow parks, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because there's a lot of snow parks too that are specific for cross-country. Are there areas that are just mapped out like this is where you camp, or is this something that you have to figure out on your own? Or, do they have sectioned off camping areas?
No sectioned off camping areas. That's the nature of dispersed camping. You find it on your own. It is backcountry camping. And one more important thing to mention is under this umbrella of, you're on your own. You obviously have to bring your own water, your own food. Toilets, there are no toilets. We don't have to go into detail on this, but I will say, pack it out. Whatever solids you might have, you need to take them out with you, because chances are, if you're snow camping, you can't really dig down into the snow, into the ground like you normally would to dig what's called a cat hole. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and internet search the term wag bag, and you can find instructions on how to make one yourself.
Okay.
And
wag bag. Okay.
Wag bag. Do the right thing. Pack it out, please.
Yeah. I'm assuming you also need a permit and all that.
So you just need the snow park permit.
Yeah, okay.
Which you can get for either 1 day, you can get a 3-day, or you can get an annual. And even though it's called annual, the season for snow park permits in the state of Oregon is November 1st through April 30th. Mm-hmm. So we are in the snow park season. I think $4 for 1 day, $9 for 3 consecutive days, or $25 for the entire season.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. I'll be honest, it's feeling a little less doable for me, just thinking about the bathroom situation. But I'm sure there's a lot of people right now being like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. Because I know
they're texting their friends. They're like, hey.
Yeah, they're like, check out these wag bags. All right, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, let's talk about gear and safety. Colder weather is coming, and with it, higher energy use. So if you're like me and are looking for ways to lower your electric bill this winter, PGE's customer dashboard makes it so easy to stay in control. Using your dashboard, you can track where your energy is going, see what's driving its use, and discover personalized tips to make helpful adjustments. All you have to do is log in or create an account, then use the Home Energy Analysis tool to update your home profile, and in just a few minutes, you're going to get suggestions tailored to your home and lifestyle. And while you're there, you can also sign up for paperless billing and explore other energy shifting programs recommended just for you. Go check it out at portlandgeneral.com/my-dash. That's portlandgeneral.com/my-dash. If you're a home DIYer like me, you might have a few leftover paint cans gathering dust in your basement. Or maybe your house already came with a bunch of them like mine did. So I'm happy to share that Paint Care makes recycling your leftover paint, stain, and varnish simple and easy with convenient drop-off locations as close as your local hardware store. Paint Care has 3 simple rules for painting smarter. 1, buy the right amount of paint for the job. 2, use up leftover paint. And 3, recycle the rest. If you visit paintcare.org/3simplerules, you'll find tips on how to do all 3. Buying the right amount of paint for your project, exploring DIY ideas for how to use up leftover paint, and also just look up the nearest drop-off site in your neighborhood. Paint Care is all about keeping it simple for Oregonians. Sometimes the best gift you can give your loved ones, especially older family members not brain rotting online like the rest of us, is a window into your life. Auraframes helps keep your family close during the holidays by making it easy to share photos from anywhere using their app and their beautiful digital picture frames. I'm talking unlimited photos and videos sent straight to an interactive photo frame that literally anyone can use. And every Aura frame comes packaged in a premium gift box with no price tag. For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off their best-selling Carver mat frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code CityCast at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code CityCast. This deal is exclusive to our listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, so now that we have our spots picked out, White River West, did you hear that? White River West.
I'm going to practice this. The next time we have a podcast, I'm just going to say White River West the entire 30 minutes.
People are going to love that. They're just like, remember that CityCast episode where it's just White River? Oh, shoot, it happened to me. All right. Now that we have our spots picked out, White River West and Frog Lake, let's talk about gear and safety. So what's on your list? What do I need? I'm assuming a tent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to rattle it off. And, if you celebrate Christmas, you're listening to this, maybe you ask Santa for some of this stuff. But let's kind of take big picture. First of all, if you're going into the snow, likely if you live in Portland, probably means you're going to Mount Hood. You need to make sure you have a way to get there safely. Do you have a vehicle that can potentially traverse the snow? A couple of resources I like to have in my back pocket are obviously what are the current conditions of the roads. There's this awesome website called tripcheck.com, and it shows all the real-time webcams of the highways and roads, including
That's so cool.
Plenty up Mount Hood. And then obviously that's only real time in the moment and you're going up there for a night. So you want to look at the different forecasts and don't just open up your phone and look at the little widget app and say, oh, it shows sunshine. Cause guess what? That's not totally accurate. So I'm a big fan of a website called mountain-forecast.com because it'll actually give you the different elevations on the mountain because what's happening at sea level is very different than what the temperature and the wind is going to be at, say, 4,000 feet.
Right.
So that's kind of big picture. You want to make sure you have a way to get there. And this time of year, chains or snow tires are required on Mount Hood. And please, if you bought chains, but you've never used them, please don't think that you're going to miraculously learn how to use them on the side of Highway 26 on your way up to the mountain. So please practice. We already talked about making sure you have a snow park permit. You can get that online or there's different retailers kind of in person if you like swing through. Sandy, I think there's an Ace Hardware or something you can get it at. But then, as you mentioned, tent. So a lot of folks have what's called a 3-season tent, but what you want is a 4-season. And you can imagine that 4th season is winter.
Right.
And a lot of us value tents typically during the summer or if we're backpacking, like how light is it? The lighter, the better. But with a 4-season tent, which incorporates the winter, the benefit there comes from how sturdy and strong the poles are. If you're an ultralight backpacker, your tents are going to have a lot more mesh. This is going to be a little bit thicker. You're not going to have the mesh. And so that is for heat retention.
Right.
So look for a 4-season tent. Please don't think that you can get away with a 3-season because then it really gets into safety issues of potential hypothermia. And then if it snows, your tent could even collapse. Like just being realistic. And then kind of, again, we're working from outside in the tent. You want to have a sleeping pad. You really want to have as much space as you can between the snow, the thin layer of your tent and your body. So in a perfect world, you might actually have, a lot of backpackers have these, they're called like closed cell foam. It's almost like a laminated type styrofoam thing that are ultralight. You can put that down, but then if you have, or you can borrow a self-inflating sleeping pad, those actually have air in there. Air is an amazing insulator. So even if you have multiple sleeping pads, that's great. It's all about comfort. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, this is like another form of more hardcore glamping. So having a sleeping pad and then a sleeping bag. This is not your summer sleeping bag. This is a whole other different echelon of sleeping. So check the different ratings. Sleeping bags have ratings on them for temperature and really know what type of sleeper you are. If you run hot, if you run cold. And then if you feel like you have a sleeping bag that's pretty good, but you're not totally sure, I would, if you can, grab a sleeping bag liner, and it's just an extra layer. I have a merino wool one. It's super thin, but wool is just this magic, nature's magic fiber that helps insulate. And so, a sleeping bag liner, and then kind of just going even more internal, like what are you wearing to sleep in? Bring a dedicated set of clothes to sleep in. I typically sleep in a beanie like for sure. I've slept in gloves and a puffy jacket, but then just making sure what's against your skin is fresh, because you certainly don't want to put on wet clothes, like whether they're
Oh
wet from
yeah, for
sweat
sure.
from the day. So yeah, that's kind of your cocoon moving outside in. And then you want to make sure that so talking gear, you have a way to get to your site. So there's a good chance that you'll need snowshoes
Hmm.
to actually hike to your destination as you're looking for a good location to snow camp in.
We've had people also come on the show to talk about winter hiking and stuff. And one of our contributors, a Norther, is always saying like, hey, I never leave the house without micro spikes in my bag. You know, if it's like past November, like I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I love micro spikes. I think kind of snow camping aside, but if you want to recreate in the winter, the one piece of gear that you absolutely have if you want to splurge, it really, in the grand scheme of things, compared to things like snowshoes, micro spikes are not a splurge, but they enable you, it just opens up this entire other world of hiking to do in the winter. You'll be able to go places that a lot of people can't go. And these aren't, just for listeners who might not be familiar, they're not the giant crampons that you see like people summiting Mount Hood, and they're not these super giant spikes. But yeah, they go over your boots. I mean, you certainly don't want to step on anyone or like a dog's paw wearing them, because you could do some damage. But yeah, micro spikes, I love, 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 love them.
Yeah. I want you to know that we're doing this episode because our producers actually really wants to do this. Julia, she's taking notes. That she really wants to go snow camping. This is not like a desire of mine, honestly. It always has looked really cool because of that whole vision of like, you open it up and you're in the mountain. And I love snow, but I don't like being uncomfortable. It's just not something that I want to do. But I follow this YouTuber, I don't know if you've ever seen, it's the Outdoor Boys. And it's just like this guy who's a dad who does like kind of more survivally, but like less bro-y and more like just a nice dad showing you how to do stuff. And the whole thing about it is that he eats like a king because his whole motto is like, I don't mind being cold, I don't mind being hungry, and I don't mind sleeping on the floor, but only one at a time. And so, and that's how he survives and how he makes it feasible. Like, I'm like, yeah, I can do one of those. Not, like I can kind of like hold off on one of those. Are you like that too? Or are you just like, oh, I can go cold and hungry and sleep on the floor?
Oh, I'm somewhere in between. So I do know that some people, whether they're camping or snow camping, like food is their thing. Like that is their creature comfort. And for me, I've gone camping and just pack like protein bars. I will say that anything that's like protein bar related in the snow just basically turns to a brick. So I am not hardcore. I am like hardcore light core. I don't know.
Okay. So what are some other things to make people comfortable? Because I'm assuming like you want to bring a water boiler of some sort or something to heat things up. Because I mean, I can't imagine sleeping out in the cold and you don't have hot something in your hand.
No, you need, yeah, hot cocoa. I mean, I'll eat protein bars, but I make sure that I have hot cocoa.
Okay.
So, one of the brand names is just happens to be Jet Boil, and it's almost like Kleenex. It's just ubiquitous. So, I say Jet Boil, but I mean like the full gamut of whatever these water boilers are. So an important thing to note there. So you can melt snow. You should still boil it, and because snow can contain icky things. But if you have a Jet Boil or whatever brand, don't just put snow in there and think that it's going to melt. Like this isn't a cartoon. That's not really how it works. So you want to also bring water bottled or a bottle of water with you, because you want to start the melting process by putting water in and then fire up the Jet Boil. It helps it can kind of go sideways if you don't put water in it. I also like having Nalgene bottles. Again, it's a brand name. Maybe there's like other comparable ones, but Nalgene's like the OG, hiker's water bottle to me. You want to have one that's rated for boiling water.
Okay.
Because what you can do is at the end of the night, you boil your last batch of water after you've had your hot cocoa or hot toddy or whatever, and you fill your Nalgene bottle with that. Make sure it's rated for boiling water. Crank down the top, and then it's a hot water bottle, and you put it in your sleeping bag. And I can't believe I waited so long to actually do that. And when I finally did it, I thought, why haven't I been doing this for years? Because it legit works. And then...
Wait, can I just tell you real quick, Karrie? I knew about this because of the Outdoor Boys.
Oh.
I think you should, I'm telling you, I think it's a really cute, I'm talking about like it's a TV show. It's like a YouTube, vlogger, but like, Yeah, that's what he does. He always puts a little hot water bottle. Not only that, he also puts it in his clothes to like
Hmm.
make the clothes not frozen.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So number one, I haven't heard of this YouTube channel. I am going to check it out. I promise you I
Okay,
will.
cool, cool, cool.
And yes, that is a perfect segue because the other thing I was going to say, in addition to your hot water bottle, you definitely want to put your clothes for the next day in there because I mean, it can get a little like lumpy, like depending on like how many sweaters and fleeces and stuff you have, but just like get over it because you're going to be so happy that they were even just slightly more warm. Your body heat, in that sleeping bag, you'll thank yourself in the morning. And then even I can't believe I didn't think about this before, but when we were talking about tents and camping, if you can grab a buddy, like two people in a tent is going to be warmer than one person in a tent. So,
Hmm.
cozy up, body heat, bring a friend. So, just consider that. The other thing that I keep meaning to do, and I haven't done it, but the next time I go snow camping, I am going to bring a sled
Hmm.
because work smarter, not harder. You can throw a bunch of stuff in the sled and then you only have to make one trip from the car because you can have your backpack with whatever it is. And then you can put all your food and your goodies in your tent and then just, be your own like sled dog and haul it into your spot.
Yeah. Also, outdoor boys. I saw that too. Just FYI.
Well, maybe you should be on the other side of the microphone and I should be
Oh yeah, I
interviewing
should be like,
you.
and it's just me telling you about all the YouTube I watch. Can I tell you, Karrie, that is actually a podcast I want to do is people telling me the TV shows or movies they've watched and just hearing someone retell. Because when I was a kid, I was super Christian and I couldn't see a lot of things. And so the way my friends kept me abreast is they would act it out during recess and they'd be like, this is what Indiana Jones is about or whatever. And then I would watch them and I would be a little disappointed because I'm like, my friends explain this so much better. And I just think I'm like, there's got to be an avenue for that. Like someone's got to want this. So Karrie, when I start this podcast, you could host it one day and I will tell you about all the YouTube videos I watched.
I will. I am
Yeah?
I am rapt with attention. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for people who are trying this out for the first time, this sounds expensive, honestly. Like I'm assuming like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist or whatever, but are there any places that you're just like, this is a good place to rent gear just to see if you even like it? Because you could go one day and just be like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like snow camping and I don't want to do this again, Or you could be like, cool, this was a good idea of a thing to bring, but maybe next time what I'll buy is.
Yeah, it is. I do want to acknowledge that spending time in the outdoors, even though there's this idea that the outdoors are free, it does add up quickly. And in particular, winter sports can be really cost prohibitive. So I definitely think you mentioned Facebook Marketplace, but I would even start with your local Buy Nothing group. I'm a huge fan of Buy Nothing groups. And maybe not all of them are created equal, but I feel like in Portland, people are really, really kind. And they're also very outdoorsy. So I've had friends literally that posted on their Buy Nothing group, hey, does anybody have like this size snowshoe? I just want to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going up to Mount Hood. And they got a pair of snowshoes that way. They just tried it out. They returned it to them, the next day.
Oh, that's so
So for
cool.
really like no cost and then a low cost option. So Next Adventure in Portland still does have gear rental. So you can check them out and double check. And depending on, if people are listening to this after the fact or later this winter, or they just love the episode so much, they just listen to it like multiple times, double check because Next Adventure does have kind of like a satellite location in Sandy, but it
Mm,
is currently closed. So I just want to make sure, things do change. So do your own due diligence and double checking to see if that's open.
right,
That was always a great one because it was on the way to the mountain. So
right.
and then the last place that I've heard other people, I have not rented from there myself, but Portland State PSU, they actually have a gear rental offering that's open to the public.
Oh, no
And
way. I had no
yeah, and I did
idea.
confirm that. That totally kind of surprised me, a pleasant, wonderful surprise. So obviously, if you're a student, the rental price is lower, but it is open to the public.
Oh, this is so cool. Non-member for cross-country skis is $8 a day. That's incredible. Like that's pretty cheap. I feel like this is a good start, like for someone who's like, okay, I want to do snow camping because I want, the views and the quietness. And I know we're joking around bragging rights or whatever, but it really is like, Karrie, if there's anything that's going to take me out, it really is that morning, you get up and you just see how gorgeous everything is. If anybody like wanted to do more research or like hit up more things. Do you have any suggestions of where people can go?
Honestly, I bet if you go to any outdoor store in the Portland area and you just ask some of the people who work there, they will talk your ear off about it because they are so excited to share their knowledge and inspire others to get out and play.
Yeah. They're like record store nerds and comic book nerds. And it's basically, that's what I say. Portland is a town of hobbyists and we all just love sharing.
Yes.
Unless you make coffee, then nobody wants to talk to you. And that's fine.
Coffee snobs. Have you had any coffee snobs on the show?
I'm just saying, in order for a good barista has to be a little mean. And like, if a barista's too nice to me, I'm just like, I don't know if my coffee's going to be good.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might cut all this, but I'm just, you know what I'm talking about. And I respect it. All right. Well, thank you, Karrie, for chilling out with me here. Julia, I know she's like been taking notes. Do you have any follow-ups? Do you want me to say anything else? Just put in the chat. She's feeling prepared she's feeling prepared. So yes.
Awesome.
And when she goes and she finally does this, she will send pictures.
When she goes to White River West.
When she goes to White River West. White River West, White River West, White River West.
White River West, right? Shoot.
And now for some events happening this week. Every Thursday on the show, we like to bring you a few recommendations to help you plan your weekend. And here's what we got. Tonight, if you're in the mood for some theater, the parody Christmas musical, Christmas in Christmasville, a Christmas show about Christmas movies, is being performed tonight at the Twilight Theater Company at 8. It's going on until the 21st. I keep hearing good things about it. Also, Peacock Lane Holiday Light Display is having pedestrian-only nights on Friday and Saturday if you want to walk around with some hot chocolate while looking at some adorably decorated houses decked out in Christmas lights. The Portland Bazaar is also happening again this weekend. The line seems to move fast, so don't be intimidated if you see one wrapping around the block. They're just making it so it doesn't get too crowded inside. But if you hate lines like me, the Lansu Chinese Garden is having their holiday party, Dongji, this weekend as well. There will be lion dancing, live music, and hands-on activities. Of course, this is just scratching the surface. There's so much more happening this weekend, and if you want earlier access to our event picks, consider becoming a CityCast Portland member. You also get ad-free listening and invites to member-only events alongside other great perks. Just head to membership.citycast.fm for more information. And if you want even more local news and events, sign up for our daily newsletter or head to our website, portland.citycast.fm. We'll throw a link for all this in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend or rate and leave us a good review. It really helps us out. And don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm for all the details. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you with Slims.